No, Uncle Ben. I'm just Peter Parker.
I'm Spider Cop no more.
No more.
What is up, everyone? It is Dash Attack. How are you doing? So, we're going to do it again. We are going to make fun of some cringe gaming journalists and shame some game devs for listening to them. So, Spider-Man 2, big anticipated sequel. People love the first game. And you want to know who kind of didn't like the first game? Gaming journalists. Why? Because Spider-Man helps the police. No, you can't have a superhero help the police. You can't have police officers portrayed in a positive light. No. You just gotta bull. Now, recently, both Nintendo and Square-Enix quietly retaliated against gaming publication, and I say that very loosely, gaming publication, Kotaku, for two separate things. They denied Kotaku access to events pertaining to Final Fantasy XVI after publishing articles implying that it was racist to have Final Fantasy XVI have an entirely Caucasian cast. They didn't get review copies of Tears of the Kingdom, and people speculate it's because they published articles encouraging people to pirate Metroid Dread. Let's read the article. Spider-Man 2 devs have listened to criticism of the first game, particularly in how it represents cops. In a new interview, a dev makes it clear that the team is aware that the first Spider-Man game on PS4 had been labeled as propaganda as soon as it launched, although said this wasn't their intention. This comes just before Spider-Man 2 is set to launch later this year, suggesting that Insomniac Games has reassured how it depicts cops in the game for the sequel. This could mean that we'll spend less time web swinging around New York, helping out the police, and more time assisting ordinary citizens, bringing Spider-Man back to his roots as a working class hero. No, there's nothing wrong with helping the police. Superheroes help the police. That's how they're not vigilantes. You know, obviously that wasn't our intent. Yeah, said Spider-Man 2 creative director Brian Inher speaking to Eurogamer about the first game's depiction of police. I think just going forward, we think about things. Better yet, he also says that unlike the first game, we won't have to help the cops spy on citizens to unfog the map. Well, while there will be something players have to do to make the map visible, and her says it will be different from the surveillance towers. So that hopefully means we'll be putting the neighborhood back in friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Insomniac's take on the web slinger is far from the first to be accused of forgetting his working class roots. While immensely popular, the MCU Spider-Man has been criticized for being paired with Tony Stark so much in many of his appearances, given that he's exactly the kind of billionaire Peter Parker would usually be fighting against. Even Tony uses his wealth for good. Even if Tony uses his wealth for good, many saw Peter's adoration of him as a betrayal of his character, especially since his proximity to Tony gave him the access to high-tech gear that other versions of Spider-Man could only dream of. Raimi's Spider-Man could barely make rent, so making MCU Spidey effectively an Elon Musk stan felt out of character to many. We'll have to wait and see if Spider-Man 2's Peter Parker story goes down any better, but he'll at least be joined by Miles Morales this time around, which always helps. We do, however, have some Venom shenanigans to look forward to, and if it is indeed Peter in the iconic black Spider-Man suit, then we're probably not going to get the friendly Spidey, we all know and love. We don't even know if this version of Venom is man-made or from space right now, though. So it's anyone's guess. Spider-Man 2s will be available exclusively on PlayStation 5. One of the reasons this was a really dumb thing to do is because Insomniac had all the power. They have the Spider-Man brand, which is in very good health right now, by the way. Like, there's a reason Spider-Man No Way Home made so much money on top of being such a good movie. Spider-Man is in good health for the time being. They weren't at risk of people not buying the game because of how the other game, which sold really well, because of how that game portrayed the police. Or how about the remaster, for that matter? It just makes no sense why they'd announce they're making changes now. Other than they don't want the gaming press to write bad things. But nobody listens to the gaming press anymore. Mostly because of crap like this. So they should have done what Nintendo and Square did and punished like these game journalists that just want to like use their platform to be like social activists with video games. They should have done that. But no, like they were like, "Oh, yo, you're right. Here, we'll make that change just for you." And what about, like, everyone else that plays the game and had no problem with the first game? Like, I've only barely played the Insomniac Spider-Man game, didn't complete it, but I do own it. It's a fun game. And so I just think this was very, very poor choice, especially since the trend right now is to shun, like, any game publication that does stupid stuff like this. Like calling Yoshi P racist, or, like, encouraging piracy, or, like, hell, leaking Tears of the Kingdom spoilers days before launch. Also, very important to point out, Miles' dad was a cop. So, to mitigate, like, police in a story that involves Miles Morales just seems counterintuitive. Anyway, what do you guys think about this? Dumb? Smart? Unpatriotic? Anti-cop? Let me know what you think in the comments. And thank you for supporting the channel. I'll see you all next time.